I just want to say that the judges today made the right decision. I respect what they've done for me, and they will be vindicated in their decision because I'm an innocent man and I can't wait to prove it.
Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan made a trip to the prosecutor's office in Romania this week, turning over more of their electronic devices to investigators. It's part of that ongoing human trafficking investigation into the Tate brothers. They were released from jail late last month after spending months there.
It's always important to look great, right? There's one thing that's more important, though, and that is feeling great. And you got to start from the bottom up. That's why I want to talk to you right now about Vessi footwear. This is so cool. They're 100% waterproof, very light, more comfortable than chugging around in traditional boots, whether you're walking around in snow and slush in the city like me, or taking cover from a summer rainstorm in Florida. These are the shoes that are durable and will keep you dry. You see, they're made from Dymatex, and that material keeps your feet warm in the cold, but also cool in warmer climates. It can work both ways. Plus, there are a bunch of different styles. There's an everyday classic sneaker, there's a Chelsea boot, there's even a boat shoe. You can check them out right now at Vessi.com. And for our listeners and viewers, you can use the code Sidebar for 15% off of your entire order. Again, that's Vessi.com, promo code Sidebar.
With me to discuss the seizure of some of the Tate brothers' electronics, or I should say additional electronics, is John Lucich. He is a digital forensic expert. John, welcome to Sidebar. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me.
John, I'm wondering, what do you think goes into, well, tell us what goes into this type of thing? Electronics, we see this evidence presented in court. It can be quite tedious. It can be voluminous. The reports and the evidence gathered from electronic devices through the different types of software. So they've already seized some electronics. Now they've turned over additional electronics that were requested by the prosecutors. What goes into searching through these devices?
Well, it all depends on the type of device. I'm sure they've turned in USB drives and other external drives, as well as computers and cell phones and tablets, and the list goes on. iPads and media, any type of media that will hold media, including MP3 players. So what they're going to do is they're going to forensically image each one of these devices and then bring it into a software program that can actually do high-speed searches. And when I say high speed, on a 2 terabyte hard drive, it may take 24 hours to process it and search it. But literally, it would take you months and months to go through it if you had to sit there, and you're never going to see anything. Because the nice thing about forensic software, we're going to be able to see what was in the allocated portions and the unallocated, which carries cached information and deleted information in the unallocated areas of the hard drive. I've been involved with this since 1988. Technology has evolved. It's getting much better. Back in the 90s, I was quoted as saying, that you can tell more about a person on their computer, looking at their computer, than you can tell from a police background check. I don't care, FBI background check. And the reason being is because unless you've had some kind of contact with the FBI or law enforcement at all, they have nothing on you. Okay. However, I look at your computer and I'm going to be able to say what your likes and dislikes are, where you want to go for vacation. I can learn so much about you by what you're searching for, because you may think that you clear browsing history. It's there forever until we seize your computer, unless you take the overt step of overwriting that with shredding utilities. So there's going to be a lot of information. And all of us live by our technology devices today. There isn't anything that we don't do that doesn't involve technology, right down to the gas pumps. Is it amazing? I go fill up, and before I even pull away, I'm getting a notice from my credit card company that I just charged $32 for a gallon of gas.
Yeah, it's amazing. And maybe you got some ads for something you were just talking about. That always kills me when I'm literally just sitting around talking about something, and then suddenly I'm seeing an ad on social media for the product. What's up with that?
Absolutely. So in the United States, that's illegal to do, but they're doing it anyway. I guess Congress is protecting them somehow, because you could literally start talking and all of a sudden talk about CB radios, and then all of a sudden start getting ads for CB radios. That should not be allowed, but because no one's enforcing that and no one's holding people accountable, people do it. And there's no doubt about it. When you take this cell phone with you, anything you say is being saved somewhere. And
Yeah, it's
you gotta be careful with that. If you're gonna have a secret meeting for some reason, you don't bring your cell phone.
Yeah, it's as creepy as can be. Uh, I always say, and going back to what you've said, I always say, you really get to know the real person by going through their text messages. So this is a case involving allegations of human trafficking. So I'm assuming there will be text messages that show communications between Andrew Tate, his brother, and these accusers. There will likely be encrypted messages. A lot of people use WhatsApp, Signal, things like that. What's the process for going through all of that? And then, let's say you're Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and you were using, I'm speaking hypothetically here because I don't know that if they were an encrypted app such as WhatsApp or Signal. How are you going to get into that to look through that stuff?
Well, as long as I have the access code, it's no problem because when we forensically image that, we're getting the decrypted stuff. There's no doubt in my mind we can see WhatsApp because we work a lot of cases. We have 54 cases going right now of all different types, including cell site analysis with cell phones to find out somebody's location during homicides or whatever. And we can see all the WhatsApp messages. We don't have a problem seeing them. It's the stuff that sometimes gets deleted, gets overwritten, because people have to realize this. We use our cell phones much more than we use our computers. So we're going to get a lot more back from our computers because that has the bigger hard drive space or storage space, and we use it a lot less. We don't carry it around with us. It's not always on, but our cell phones are always on unless we're rebooting it for a software update or something like that. And they have a much smaller device. So if something gets deleted about a month ago, it's very possible that you're not going to get that back. Because I always tell people things live on cell phones in weeks and months, not months and years. So it's very possible that what they're searching for may not be there. But the defense has to get copies. And I'm sure that because if they're good lawyers, before they even turn them in, they should have forensically imaged them themselves to be able to say that this is what it was when we gave you. So if it changes, there's some explaining to do, right? So, because we do that a lot with defense work, we were asked to image this before they turn this into whatever agency they have to turn it into. So we have a date and a copy of the evidence as though it sat before they turned it in. Not that they're accusing anybody of doing anything surreptitiously or wrong, but they just want to protect their clients. And I totally understand that.
John, one of the things I find interesting is the fact that the attorney for the Tate brothers says that the prosecutors had already seized electronics. Now the brothers are being summoned to the prosecutor's office to turn over additional electronics. So why now? Because they were arrested back in late December. They were just released from jail about 2 weeks ago, where they were being held pending, further progress in this case as it moves forward. So to me, why wouldn't you have just seized everything early on? Now they're turning over additional electronics, and that goes to your point about what was possibly overwritten.
Yes, so it's possible that they didn't know those devices existed. It's possible that they're new devices. And if they are new devices, they shouldn't be turned over, and their attorney should fight that in law because in a court of law, because if you're looking at past crimes and these are new devices, because the only thing you're going to be getting on that new device is really attorney-client privilege information. And I can tell you this firsthand that they say they don't look, but sometimes they do look, and they can't use that, but it gives them information. So, especially outside this country, I don't always trust that side. So, you always have to make sure of what they're doing and copy everything. But there shouldn't be a reason to seize new devices. So, it really has to be old devices because if these were new devices, their attorneys should have objected because there would be nothing in there from the time they allegedly committed that crime that they're being accused of.
Mhm. And from what we understand, the Tate brothers, this case is still in what's called the investigative phase, despite
Sure.
the fact that they had been detained. So they're going and looking for additional evidence on electronics. Are they just dotting their I's and crossing all of their T's, these prosecutors? Or are they really fishing? I mean, I guess the alternatives, they're fishing for additional evidence because maybe they don't have enough evidence to back up their case. I feel like there are two alternatives here, or maybe even three.
Right. So you never know what's in the mind of a prosecutor, right? But it's very possible that they're fishing. When they want as many devices as they can, they're fishing. They're looking for stuff, especially if they're new devices, because there shouldn't be anything on a new device that has to do with past crimes. Unless what they're saying is that he got a new device, but he did an Apple backup or a Droid backup and restored stuff that we didn't have on the prior phone, but it was in the backup. So there's a lot of possibilities of why they're doing that, but so we don't even know if they're new device or old devices. But how would they know if they did a Droid backup, or restored a Droid backup or an Apple backup? How would they know that? So they just got to be careful of what they do online, because they may have a warrant, a communications data warrant, to actually be watching them in real time. And this is where they may be getting some additional information. And some countries don't even need a communication data warrant. I don't know what these other countries' laws are, what they're prohibited to do, and what they're allowed to do. But when you're talking about different laws like that, anything's possible.
Anything certainly is possible. Well, John Lucich, digital forensic expert, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Love to talk to you again. Have a great day.
And that's it for this edition of Law and Crime Sidebar podcast. You can listen to and download Sidebar on Apple, Spotify, Google, and wherever else you get your podcasts. And of course, you can always watch it on Law and Crime's YouTube channel. I'm Angenette Levy, and we will see you next time.